Good morning, everyone, and for Charm TV, we're about to begin. Commissioners, you ready?
Yeah, let's proceed.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's March 23rd, 2023 hearings. There's a lengthy docket, so is there any preliminary comments, or should we just jump in?
Let's leap in.
All right. I note for the record that the chairman of the board is recused from the first case, which I will now call. 6700 German Hill Libations LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 6700 German Hill Road. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and an application to transfer ownership of said license.
Good morning.
Morning.
Commissioners.
Good morning.
Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Juan De Leon.
Good morning, and this is an application to transfer ownership?
It is, and I'm sure you're aware of the MOU in the file between Mr. De Leon and Graceland Park Improvement Association.
Yes, and does your client, well, let's swear your client in. if we
Yes,
could.
thank you very much.
Can you raise your right hand?
And everybody stand in front of the microphone, and we're going to swear in a witness too.
And two.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Right. And your client, Mr. De Leon, agrees that the MOU is attached to the license?
That's correct. That's correct. And it says so much, I believe, in the MOU. I want to thank the neighbors at Graceland Park Improvement Association as well as Dundalk Renaissance. There were at least 3 meetings to put this MOU together. It's quite comprehensive, and so it's a lot that the applicant has promised to do to bring a little more security to the corner of Dundalk Avenue and German Hill Road. I'm also joined here, just so you know for the record, by Jermaine Sorrell. He's the president of Metropolitan Police Protection Services. He employs the security guards who will work the weekends, 2 on Friday night, 3 on Saturday night, and 2 on Sunday nights from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Okay. Can you speak a little bit to Mr. De Leon's experience?
Sure. Mr. De Leon is, I think, one of the most important things about him in this situation is he lives effectively across the street on Steelton Avenue, so he can be on site within 3 minutes, if anything, if he is needed for anything. He has lived in the United States, or I'm sorry, he's from San Juan, Puerto Rico. He's lived on the mainland for 15 years. He's worked as a cook. He's run a cleaning company. He is a customer of this bar and became the manager. He's familiar with the operations. He's familiar with some of the challenges of this establishment, particularly during the day and into the night. There's a large number of vagrant folks who, in some cases, live on that corner, and there is some drug transactions. It's a difficult corner, so much so that Graceland Park, at the beginning of our negotiation, said, "Look, the last thing we want is this to be a vacant property. We need you there, and we need you to make some adjustments, including Mr. De Leon has agreed to put a new fence in to keep the back completely secure. There are steps that belonged to a doorway at one time the doorway was blocked up years ago, bricked up, and so it's steps to nowhere, and it becomes a convenient place for people to sit down and who aren't affiliated with the establishment. Additionally, the property has a pretty large wooden deck at its entrance, which is also used by non-customers at all hours of the day. Mr. Sorrell understands the unique challenges at this particular property, and while most licensees don't want to do this or get into it, they have agreed to keep an eye out on 100 feet from the perimeter on all sides at all times. So Mr. De Leon knows the history of the establishment, and he understands that there has to be order, there has to be compliance with the rules and regulations, and the MOU further calls for quarterly appearances at the Graceland Park Improvement Association. So I think the communication and the attention to detail in this MOU is going to lead to a more compliant, a place that's going to be an asset to the community.
No, I appreciate that, because, the record is pretty egregious, and I appreciate the fact that the Graceland Park Improvement Association has come to the table and sees this as a possibility to address the problems in the community. I understand that your client has met with the chief. Chief, do you have any comments in connection with your discussion with the applicant?
We had a pretty lengthy discussion. I am still in need, and I guess the time of transfer, if this gets approved, a corrected security plan, because it was incorrect the day that we met. I also just, if you don't mind, Commissioner, just to put on the record, what days they're going to have security there? What days are you going to be having security there?
Yeah, the MOU calls for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at least two licensed uniformed security persons, and they will, it's section M, it says, I'll just read it if that's okay. It just says, licensee shall provide at least two licensed uniformed security persons who will patrol around the premises every hour, beginning at 10 and ending at 2:30. Around the outside and sidewalks surrounding the property. In addition, security will patrol an extra 2 hours on Friday from 8 p.m. to 2:30 p.m.
So how many people are going to be working Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
So according to Mr. Sorrell, although this is not in the MOU, he indicated to me this morning as I prepared him for direct examination, 2 security Friday night, 3 security Saturday night, and 2 again on Sunday night.
Okay, well, we can discuss off record. That's not going to be sufficient. If you're doing 2 security guards are patrolling around the property, he's watching the doors and carding and watching for the inside.
Well, and with all due respect, when we do MOUs, sometimes the community, they're not security experts. You understand that, so.
No. Yeah, I'm not worried about the MOU. I'm worried about the operations of the establishment. I'd like to know how many security are going to be present on Friday, how many on Saturday, and how many on Sunday. And how many are going to be armed and how many are going to be unarmed.
Okay, and we'll get that to you. Mr. De Leon has been very flexible with Graceland Park and putting this MOU together, and will absolutely defer to this board as far as security requirements.
And then he had agreed during our meeting to put cameras and give access to those cameras to BPD, exterior cameras only, obviously, the access. Is that still okay?
Yes, that's included in section S, as in Sam, of the agreement on page 2. Licensee agrees to have working security cameras at all times, including off business hours. The security system will record activity inside and around the bar. Licensee agrees to ensure that footage is stored at least 30 calendar days. Licensee agrees to, upon suspected criminal activity or upon request of GPIA, to make a copy of the footage in question and make it available to law enforcement. Continuing on to T, licensee will provide access to stored footage to Baltimore City Police when requested.
So during our meeting, we had asked and he had agreed that the exterior cameras only would have remote access directly with the police department that they can monitor at their convenience whenever they needed to without, giving them the online access for the exterior only. Is he still in agreement to that?
Yeah, I'd have to ask him about that. That is not in the MOU. That was not Graceland Park didn't, that wasn't.
Well, that's what our meeting. So I brought back to my board what we discussed, and he had agreed to it. So I just need to know if he's willing to do that.
All right, I'll need to bring an interpreter up to get that.
Well, I think the importance here is there needs to be an ongoing discussion between the applicant and the chief and his staff to make sure that this is a seamless transfer and that all of these concerns are being addressed. Commissioner Reisinger, do you have any questions?
No, I think it was all said.
We did have an additional, I think Councilman Cohen's staff
Okay,
wishes to speak.
one second.
Sorry.
We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so, Mr. Fogelman, do you have anything further?
No, other than they understand the challenges and they're here and prepared to address those challenges to operate in a way that reflects the peace and welfare of the neighborhood.
Yeah, and please, I can't emphasize this enough, continued discussion with the chief and meeting his objectives and ensuring that it's a safe establishment is absolutely critical, I think, to this board. We have Miss Masters. Yeah, come on up. Have you been sworn in?
Not yet.
Okay, let's swear you in if that's okay.
That's right. Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
What's your first name now?
Maggie. And I am the Chief of Staff for Councilmember Cohen in the First District. And on behalf of the council office and local community members, I am sharing testimony for the record. This property has been in disrepair for as long as the business has existed. 911 calls data supports serious concerns about criminal activity and disorderly conduct around the bar. In the past year, within 200 feet of the bar, there have been 346 calls for service, with roughly 40% of the calls for disorderly conduct and narcotics, and another 20% for prostitution and overdoses. It is our understanding that the longtime manager has a contingent offer to buy the building, contingent on the successful liquor license transfer, and that he will still be managing the day-to-day of the bar. He has been the lead in all MOU conversations with community and in any discussions with the community. Our sense from the community is that he will very much be the operator of the liquor license. That gentleman, Mr. Bullis, now will also own the building is further signal to community that the status quo, disrepair, disorderly conduct, etc., would continue or actually worsen, as he would be the manager, the building owner, and essentially operating the liquor license. Prior to the last week, there has been very little attempt at good faith improvements, actual improvements to the facade or the perimeter until the past week. Community has not opposed this transfer because they were told by multiple advisors and individuals with knowledge of the process that it was nearly impossible for them to successfully protest a transfer of license because of the narrow lens through which this transfer process would be examined. The community tried to engage council to help them protest this license, but with a limited timeline and funding, were at a disadvantage. This left community with no choice but to partner on an MOU. As you can imagine, this has left both community members, those inside and outside of the Graceland Park Community Association, along with local businesses, feeling very defeated.
And are you, Ms. Master, and the councilman aware of the MOU between Graceland Park Improvement Association and the applicant?
Yes, we are.
And are you aware of some of the terms that about the exterior of the establishment is the responsibility of the applicant?
Yes, we are.
And you are opposing, I just want to make sure it's clear on the record, the councilman opposes this transfer because of other community associations?
We are not formally opposing the transfer because the community association has decided not to protest the transfer, but wanted to put on the record the context for why the community association is not protesting the transfer.
Understood. Before I turn it, Mr. Full, Commissioner Reisinger.
No, so you just, the councilman is just concerned, okay.
Okay, Mr. Fogelman, any
Yeah,
questions?
just very briefly, I mean, it appears she was reading an email from perhaps an unnamed constituent.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was an email I'd sent to myself
Oh, okay.
with my
No
own.
problem. I just,
just didn't have time to print it out. Sorry.
Edie Schumann and Graceland Park spent, 20 hours per person practically putting this thing together. So I don't want that to detract from, I don't know where the facts or the allegations were gathered for that statement, but I do know that GPIA did in fact have the former manager there, mostly because his English was better than Mr. De Leon's English. And I feel like they believed it was a very positive meeting of the minds. And so I don't want to detract from the hard work that volunteer organization did.
I think, you know, the length of this hearing demonstrates how serious we're taking this transfer, I think. And is it fair to say that the applicant will be in operational control entirely of this establishment and this license?
As law requires, that
Okay.
the licensee will be the actual owner and operator of the establishment.
Okay. Commissioner Reisinger, anything?
No, I just want to add real quick, I just think the councilman is concerned about the new licensee, since they're not opposing, for the record. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, which suggests to me that the applicant should also spend some time with the councilman and his staff to make sure that, you know, that it is doing the right thing and addressing any of their ongoing concerns.
Thank you. We're grateful for the input and the advocacy.
Sure, Ms. Master?
I just do want to name that it is not meant to discount the many hours, as council mentioned, that Graceland Park has put into this, and also understanding that this was I think a partnership out of necessity, because they understood that there was not another pathway for them. And so I think both things are true.
Yes, understood, and, you know, understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, if there's nothing further, then, based on the application, the proffer, the testimony, I would vote to approve this application to transfer ownership with the memorandum of understanding entered into between the applicant and Graceland Park Improvement Association being agreed to by the applicant and being attached to the license to the extent it's enforceable by law. Commissioner?
Yes, based on materials and testimony provided today and the MOU attached to the license, I also vote to transfer the application to transfer ownership.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Clerk Posibus for the record. Board Exhibit 1, MOU between applicants and Graceland Park Improvement Association.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant will receive follow-up instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's preliminary approval by the board. We'll now be joined with a full complement of the commissioners. Calling then, you want to move forward, Mr. Commissioner? I'm going to call the case, or you want to wait for?
You can call the case. He's,
Okay.
he is arriving.
Item number 2 on today's docket. Show You Canton Incorporated, trading as Sushi Brucia. Premises are located at 1634 Alisana Street. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you. I lost mine.
Good morning, Drew Tilden of Rosenberg Martin Greenberg on behalf of the applicant, and I am joined by Mr. Bruce Lee, the licensee applicant, and of course, Caroline Hecker. And so with the board's permission, I would like to proffer testimony for this case.
That's fine, go ahead.
Thank you so much. So we are here today requesting approval for the transfer of ownership of the Class B beer, wine, and liquor license currently located at 1634 Alisana Street to the individual licensee, Mr. Bruce Lee, for operation as Show You Canton Inc. or Sushi Brucia. So the premises was most recently occupied by Friends and Family. It was a plant-based comfort food restaurant. Friends and Family closed last year, and then subsequently the applicant entered into a lease agreement for the subject premises. The applicant then commenced interior renovations in January of 2023 and looks forward to opening its doors this coming May. Sushi Brucia, which is going to be the second restaurant coming from Chef Bruce Lee, will offer a variety of traditional and fusion sushi dishes, and it's going to seat approximately 50 guests inside, and then it will also have 14 outdoor seats. Those are going to be the same outdoor seats that were previously operated by Friends and Family. They will generally operate between the hours of 12 p.m. and 10 p.m. Depending on demand, they may close earlier. Ms. Jung, who is also here today and will be part of the daily operation, is currently TIPS certified. Mr. Lee is not currently, but he will be TIPS certified prior to the opening of the restaurant. Both are going to be, again, involved in daily operations. Furthermore, the restaurant is not going to serve hard liquor, and they're going to card anyone who appears to be under the age of 40. As I mentioned, this is Mr. Lee's second operation. They also have Show You in Federal Hill. That opened in 2012. Ms. Jung, the TIPS certified representative, is the licensee on that license, and they have not had one violation or citation since 2012. So we've also submitted a letter of support in the file from the Fells Point Residents Association that demonstrates that there is a public need and desire for the license. This will not be a new license, so it's not going to impact existing licenses in the area. Again, not a new license, so it's not going to cause any sort of commonality in restaurants. Again, the Fells Point Residents Association supports this application. There have not been any violations, so it is not negatively going to impact the general health, safety, or welfare of the community. And for those reasons, we respectfully request that you approve the application.
Thank you. So you mentioned 2 people who are going to be TIP certified. Anybody else going to be handling alcohol?
Would you like to speak to that?
We've got to raise your right hand, okay?
Swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Are you Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Famous name, huh? Are you good at martial arts? Okay. Will you step up to the microphone, please? So are you and the other lady going to be the only ones who are handling the alcohol, or will you have other servers?
Oh, no, me and my wife.
Just the 2 of you?
Yes,
Okay.
uh-huh.
And you're going to get tip certified, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And be careful about identifying people underage, right?
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. All right, then on the basis, then, first of all, I'm going to accept, receive into evidence the documents that have been presented this morning. And on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from counsel, testimony received, and the exhibits, including the letter of support from the Fells Point Residents Association, I vote to approve this application to transfer this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with continued outdoor table service.
Based upon the application, the excellent proffer, and the testimony, I, too, would vote to approve this application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service.
Yes, based on material and testimony we've provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service.
Ms. Russell,
Medical exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, business plan.
you keep that up, you'll be the deputy mayor.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's preliminary approval by the board. Shall we move forward, Mr. Commissioners?
Please. Mr. Blendy, did you want to make an announcement about the deadline for renewing licenses?
Oh, sure, Mr. Chairman. Just a reminder to all the attorneys and the applicants, licensees here, just a reminder that we are in the middle of renewals. Renewals are timely if received by the board on March 31st, 2023 or before, and then just subject to $50 a day late fees if they're received thereafter. Should you not have received one in the mail, or should your clients not have received one in the mail, we do apologize, but are not in control of the United States Postal Service. But all our materials are available in the office, online, and just a reminder that all licenses have to be renewed and physically on premises by May the 1st, 2023.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Moving back to the docket, item number 3 on today's docket, Palance Roadie Shop and Bar, LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 2031 East Fairmount Avenue, and this is an amended application to transfer ownership of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Good morning, Commissioners. Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Palance Roadie Shop. With me is Mr. Smith. Mr. Stephen works for the Department of State and is, I believe, traveling. I can't give his location, unfortunately. I'm not sure he was able to. I will proffer. Mr. Smith, who was standing with me, is going to be helping with some of the back office activities, accounting, things of that nature. Mr. Stephen plans to offer, I want to say, is it Jamaican food? Jamaican food at the location. We've been talking with the community for, I want to say, several months at this point for any number of issues as things happen. The MOU wasn't signed until the last minute, I think, just because it kind of slipped through the cracks a bit. But
You're
it was
offering
signed.
it, though, right?
Absolutely.
It'll be received.
And they're very excited. This is a great location for this sort of enterprise. I think it'll do very well there. Their understanding with regards to wholesalers, being alcohol awareness certified, serving to minors, things of that nature. Again, it's going to be functional as a restaurant, so the neighborhood's very happy.
And they're willing to have the terms of the MOU be part of the license?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. Based on the materials contained in the amended application, the proffer from council, the exhibit received, I vote to approve this amended application to transfer this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with the, subject to the terms of the memorandum of understanding with the Butchers Hill Association to the extent those terms are enforceable by law.
Based upon the application, the proffer, the exhibit received, I too would approve this amended application to transfer ownership with the memorandum of understanding attached to the license to the extent it's enforceable by law.
Yes, based on the materials, testimony, and a letter from the attorney provided today, I also vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership with the MOU incorporated in the license.
Ms. Russell?
I call exhibits to the record. Board Exhibit 1, MOU between applicants and Butchers Hill Association.
Thank you. Good luck, sir.
That concludes this matter. That concludes this matter before the board. Council has received instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's preliminary approval by the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 4 on today's docket, Hamden Events LLC, trading as trade name pending. This is the proposed premises are located at 1014 West 36th Street. This is an amended application to transfer ownership and location of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license presently located at 3602 Hickory Avenue to 1014 West 36th Street and requesting outdoor table service.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicant Timothy Langford Condor.
Good morning.
Good morning. If I can proffer and bring the board up to date.
Okay, I understand there was
we
a
were-
zoning issue.
Yeah, there was a zoning issue and one of the more interesting zoning hearings that I'd ever participated in. So what had occurred, so this application was in, it was approved. There was a 90-day hardship hearing. I don't know if you recall that Mr. Gioso, the owner of the building next door, appeared at that hearing. After that hearing, we tried to pursue obtaining the use and occupancy permit. It turned out that there's a church and a what do you call where the preacher lives? The
Parsonage?
The church and the parsonage. Those lots were consolidated, unconsolidated, and now reconsolidated, so that the address showing is the church address on 36th Street, which was commercial, and the parsonage address was residential. And then there's an old zoning code that says even if it's a split zoning, each side of the consolidated property keeps its own zoning. So we had to go back to zoning to get a conditional use for the parsonage. And that was approved back in December. We were unable to complete the transfer by reason of that by the January 6th deadline, so we filed the amended. We had, the whole room was filled in support of Mr. Condor's idea for the backyard of the parsonage on this plan. And now we're here today to request that the board approve the amended application so that we can proceed. Construction is 95% done. We should be able to open within 90 days, and he hopes to be open when the weather gets good.
So we approved this back in April of 22 before the zoning issue arose. That's
Yes, sir.
correct. So the only change is that you've now gotten the approval from the zoning board?
Yeah, originally, the use and occupancy permit came back to the board as commercial use, no problem. And then it turned out that this part of the parcel was residentially zoned. Somebody picked up on that when we were starting to get to the completion of the picking up the use permit, and then had to go for a zoning hearing.
Okay, so we've received a letter from Mr. Gioso dated March 9 in opposition. That'll be made part of the record. Have you seen it?
I haven't, but that's okay.
Want to see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the amended application, the proffer from council, and any exhibits received, I vote to approve the amended application to transfer this Class BG7 beer, wine, and liquor license, transferring the ownership and location of the license currently at 3602 Hickory Avenue to 1014 West 36th Street with outdoor table service.
Based upon the amended application, the proffer, and the exhibits received, I too would approve this amended application to transfer ownership and location of this Class BD7 license presently located at 3602 Hickory Avenue to 1014 West 36th Street with outdoor table service.
Based on the materials, testimony, and letter from the attorney provided today, I also vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership and location of a Class BD7 BWL license presently located at 3602 Hickory Avenue to 1014 West 36th Street, and also requesting outdoor table service.
Ms. Russell?
Like exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, letter of opposition from community member.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership that has been preliminarily approved today by the board, which by law must occur within 180 days from today. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 5 on the regular docket, Savoy Management Services LLC, trading as Club Pussycat. Premises are located at 411 East Baltimore Street. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment of both a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and a Class AE adult entertainment license.
Morning.
Good morning, J.U. representing the applicant, Ms. Savoy.
Do you want to have her testify or not?
She may, so.
Why don't you raise your right hand, ma'am, please?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Yu?
Yes, if I may proffer. Ms. Savoy will be the 100% owner of the Savoy Management Services LLC. She'll be the operational manager. She is a longtime Baltimore City resident, and she's qualified as a licensee, as she has no criminal record and she has no serious traffic convictions. She did complete the alcohol awareness training, which I'll submit to the board, if I may.
They'll be received.
She will be assuming the management force that is currently in place. Mr. Wanland, who's the transferor, has been owner of the premises and the building for a long time. He has substantial interest in this transaction, as he will remain the landlord and he will secure the interest in the liquor license because he is financing a substantial portion of the sale. So he will be there to help her get established, and she will make sure that there is a good security measure in place. She will have 2 security, which one will be at the door and one will be monitoring the inside. It's their procedure to make sure that everybody's patted down and everybody's go through metal detector and everybody gets checked ID, so that no minor will be entering the premises.
She's aware that because this location on the block, there are certain restrictions?
Yes, we went through the rules and regulations thoroughly.
And has she signed off, Mr. Blendy, on?
Not at the moment, because the license is still, Mr. Chair, in the previous person's name. But just to, I think what the chairman's alluding to is that is in a location where the General Assembly has said that all establishments must close by 10 p.m. unless they submit security plans, affidavits, sign certain things. So those will be documents that if she wishes to remain, if the board does approve and she wishes to remain open beyond 10 p.m., she'll have to submit those documents as part of the transfer documents.
You're aware of that, Mr. Yu?
Yes, we will make sure
Wanted
that
to make
gets
sure.
signed. Thank you.
Anything further?
No.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, proffer from council, any testimony received, and with that admonition from Mr. Blendy, I vote to approve the application transfer ownership of the Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, as well as the Class AE adult entertainment license with continued live entertainment.
Based upon the application and the proffer, I too would approve this application to transfer ownership of the BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and Class AE adult entertainment license with continuation of adult entertainment. With continuation of live entertainment.
Yes, based on the materials and testimony provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment with the BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and the Class adult entertainment license.
Ms. Russell?
Like exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, alcohol awareness certification.
Thank you. Good luck, ma'am.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to legally complete the transfers of the licenses, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's preliminary approval by the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Item number 6 on the regular docket, Shri Amsai LLC, trading as Corky's. Premises are located at 5404 to 06 York Road, and this is an application to transfer ownership requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Counsel?
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Shri Amsai. With me is Ms. Manisha Patel. I think we do have some people from the local councilman's office as well. And I just wanted to make a quick correction, if I may, and I think this came in via form of a letter the other day, and I just wanted to verify. There was a concern in my office where we made a mistake in terms of the ownership percentages. Ms. Manisha Patel is the only person with ownership on the application. On the application, it says it's 100%. It should be 1%. The 99% should belong to a holding company that one of their accountants, that I guess her accountant had set up for tax and liability purposes. She is the sole owner of the holding company. So
Is
99.
that the Shri Amsai LLC?
Shri Amsai LLC is the operating entity.
Oh, okay.
Shri Amsai Holding LLC owns 99% of the operating entity, and she is the 100% owner of that holding company.
Did you want to testify, ma'am? Absolutely. Okay, can you come up and raise your right hand, please? Is your client going to testify as well?
I'm not sure that she needs to. We can certainly, yeah, why
Just
not?
raise your right hands while we're...
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
When you do testify, come up and state your name, okay? Go ahead, Mr. Hurdle.
With me is Ms. Manisha Patel. She has limited experience in the industry. She will be alcohol awareness certified when she takes over. The sellers that are currently there plan to train her for about a month in time. Her husband, who will be helping her out with this matter, has 20 years of experience in the industry, and they're going to have all staff alcohol awareness trained. They're aware about purchasing from wholesalers, as well as serving minors. Loitering in this area is a big concern. We spoke to the councilman's office late last week because there was some confusion, I guess, in terms of notice and all the different parties. I did want to thank the councilman's office as well as his staff and the community groups for their just incredible ability to kind of come together very quickly to work with us on an MOU, which I think Ms. Riley, who's standing to my left, will present in absolute record time. One of the concerns that had been voiced was patrons kind of hanging out in the establishment at what I think is like a poker or lotto machine and possibly consuming alcohol, which is absolutely forbidden in an AA licensed establishment. That's something that we plan to change the layout just a very little bit to prevent going forward, so that there won't be consumption of alcoholic beverages inside, as there are not allowed to be. We plan to work with the community as well as the police in the area to help with loitering and other issues and concerns. I think the main issues were, again, keeping the cleanliness and trash together, making sure that there are several employees for safety, and kind of keeping the advertising off the windows, which leads to a better presentation generally. But the MOU is comprehensive and has obviously more terms than that, but those are some of the things that we were significantly focused on.
You want to speak, ma'am?
Meredith Riley from Councilman Conway's office, Director of Policy and Communications for District 4. I have passed out the MOU to everybody. As Mr. Hurdle alluded to, we did get this done in record time with the community organizations. And not much more to say, that we are really pleased with how this all worked out, and we are in support of the transfer.
I'm inclined to issue a bench warrant for the president of the Homeland Association. She's my niece. Okay. Anything from the commissioners?
So the MOU is incorporated in the license, Mr. Chair?
Yes, they're willing to have the terms
Absolutely,
be
yes,
incorporated.
that was
Yes.
discussed.
Okay.
Anything else?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from counsel, the testimony received, as well as the agreement between the liquor licensee and the Homeland Association, the Mid-Govans Community Association, and the York Road Partnership, terms of which will be applicable to the license to the extent enforceable by law, I vote to approve this application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license with delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application, the proffer, and the testimony, I too would approve the application to transfer ownership with delivery of alcoholic beverages with the memorandum of understanding that's been entered into between the applicant and the Homeland Association, the Mid-Govans Community Association, and the York Road Partnership attached to the license to the extent it's enforceable by law.
Based on the materials and testimony provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of the A beer, wine, and liquor license and the MOU incorporated in the license, and also to request delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Okay, Ms. Russell?
Yes, I'd like to post exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, MOU between applicants and Mid-Govan Community Association and York Road Partnership.
Thank you. Good luck, folks.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council has received instructions on how to legally complete the transfer of ownership. The board preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 7 on the regular docket, Mission Driven Dining LLC, trading as Ampersea. Premises are located at 1417 Thames Street. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, David F. Mr. Winter Bartlett, LLC, representing the applicant today. If the board would so permit, we'll proceed by way of a proffer. Mr. Smedberg, the applicant, is here with me. It's available to answer any questions. This is an application for transfer, but I like to call it a change of corporate officers because it's the same entity and a continuation of the existing restaurant business. We're just changing the licensee. This is motivated by the majority owner, who was the Baltimore City resident licensee, has transferred his ownership interest into a trust, and therefore did not have a direct ownership interest, would not have been eligible to continue to hold the license. Mr. Smedberg, the applicant, is the general manager there and has been that general manager for 6 years. This is, I don't know whether the board's familiar with Ampersea, but it's a fine dining restaurant on Thames Street. It's in the Living Classrooms building. This already has an existing outdoor dining permission, and we would ask certainly for the continuation of that. To my knowledge, there have been I was not the original counsel to represent them when they became licensed, but there have not been any violations. It's highly regarded, and they have an excellent relationship there with Living Classrooms, and the restaurant itself engages in a lot of very educational and charitable endeavors. Mr. Smedberg is here available to answer any questions if the board has any. This will basically be a continuation of the existing restaurant business there with just a change of the licensee.
Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right. Thank you. Mr. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, and on the basis of the good record that this operation has, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with continued live entertainment and outdoor table service.
Based upon the application and the proffer, I too would approve this application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
Based on the testimony and materials provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Thank you, counsel. Good
Thank
luck,
you.
sir.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee and council receiving instructions on how to legally complete the transfer, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing and preliminary approval by the board. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 8 on the regular items. The next ones are all 90-day transfer hardship requests. 2933 O'Donnell LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 2903 O'Donnell Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant.
Okay, we have your letter, Mr. Fogelman. What's the situation?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add. This place shut down during COVID, and there's been some renovations done to the place. The biggest problem now is that because of the length of time, the seller, the former tenant, whose name is on the license, let his LLC forfeit. And so now we have to go through the process of filing articles of revival for the LLC to bring it into good standing so that by state law, the license can be transferred.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of your letter of March 1, 2023, and your proffer this morning, Mr. Fogelman, I vote to approve this application for a 90-day hardship transfer extension.
Based upon the letter of March 1st, 2023, I too would grant this request for a transfer hardship extension for 90 days.
Yes, based on the material testimony and the letter from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for a transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Ms.
Thank-
Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
That concludes this matter before the board. Having approved the hardship transfer extension, this may not exceed 270 days from the date of the initial approval by the board, so council and applicant are aware. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 9 on today's docket, Bottoms Up Canton LLC, trading as Three of a Kind. Premises are located at 3301 Foster Avenue. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants Ruben Arizmendi and Lance Bixler. This is a request for a 90-day transfer extension hardship. When we were previously here, there were no issues with the transfer. It's a transfer of ownership and remaining location. And the issue that's tied us up a bit is there were some necessary repairs to the exterior, to the facade of the front of the building that required a building permit, and that now needs plans to be submitted, so it's tied up our use permit. So we most respectfully request an additional 90 days.
Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right. Mr. Previs, on the basis of your letter of March 2, 2023, your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this license.
Based upon your, Mr. Previs, your letter of March 2nd, 2023, I too would approve this request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
That's based on materials, testimony, and a letter sent by the attorney. I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Mr. Russell?
Thank you
No
very much.
exhibits for the record.
Thank you. Good luck.
That concludes this matter before the board, and just so council and licensee are aware, by law, the transfer hardship extension may not exceed 270 days from the date of the initial approval by the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 10 on today's docket, Washington Liquor Incorporated, trading as Washington Liquor and Bar. Premises are located at 2501-03 Washington Boulevard. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Morning. Are you Mr. Singh, sir?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Yes, sir.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've written to us on requested hardship extension. Can you tell us the reason?
Yes, sir. All our inspections are done, but the building owner had one issue with the inspection, so it's almost done. We just want to be on the safe side, so we can get extension.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Questions?
All right, thank you, Ms. Singh. On the basis then of your letter to the board, which is undated, but received February 27, and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this license.
Thank you, sir.
Based upon the letter received on February 27th, I too would, and your testimony, I too would approve this request for a transfer hardship extension for 90 days.
Yeah, based on the materials and testimony and the letter sent from the applicant, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Good luck, sir.
That concludes this matter before the board. Be aware, sir, that you can only get, by law, up to 270 days from the date your initial transfer was approved. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Item number 11 on today's docket, Cheeses and Company Incorporated, trading as Curly's Liquors. Premises are located at 5200 Reisterstown Road. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Good morning, Your Honor. Commissioners, J.U. representing the applicant, Ms. Crystal Peoples.
Do you have different color ones for each day? No, okay.
This is a request for 90 days transfer extension for hardship. We are trying to still find out what tax hold is holding us up from obtaining the trader's license. Well, we called many places, the controllers, the unemployment insurance. They all say there's no hold, but then again, there is a hold. And obviously, the circuit court clerk's office, they don't know which agency put the hold on. So we're still making calls and sending emails out, but eventually we'll find out, hopefully soon.
Good luck to you, Mr. Yu. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
All right. Thank you. On the basis of your letter, Mr. Yu, of February 22, and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this license.
Based upon February 22nd letter and the proffer, I too would grant this request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Based on the materials, testimony, and letter from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Thank you.
Good luck. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thanks.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant, be aware that the law only allows for up to 270 days from the date of the original approval by the board. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 12 on the regular docket, KBBQ 2005 Incorporated, trading as Bone. Premises are located at 2021 to 23 O'Donnell Street. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Good morning. You, Ms. Lee?
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And state your name for the record, please.
Huh?
State your name, please, for the record.
Yeah, my name is Alexis Changhwan Lee.
Good morning. You want to tell us why you need the extension?
Yes, we have a huge delay in permit work. We're still waiting for the permit from the city.
It's hard to hear with the mask. Do you have a delay in what kind of work?
Permit.
Oh, permit
Because we
work.
have to
Okay.
put grill all our table and the hood system with the ventilations. It's a little bit complicated, so I think we have to wait for the permit from the city.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lee, on the basis of your letter to the board of February 13, 2023, and your proffer this morning, your testimony this morning, vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this BG7 license.
Based upon the letter of February 13th and the testimony, I too would grant this request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Yes, based on the materials, testimony, and letter sent from the applicant, I vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Good luck, ma'am.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. And Ms. Lee, please be aware that the maximum time that the law allows is 270 days from the day of the original approval by the board. And should you start running up on that, please contact our office. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Item number 13 on today's docket, We Out Here Enterprises LLC, trading as Uptown Liquors. Premises are located at 2115 West North Avenue. This is a request for a transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B for 90 days of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky, representing the applicant. It's a request for a 9-day extension. I think we're right there at this point. There was a problem with the health department. We finally got Mr. Welsh to sign off, and it's probably sent a notice to the board. So I think we should be able to do this within the next week or so, but in the abundance of caution, I want to have the 90-day extension. That's the only holdup.
Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Mr. Kudensky, on the basis of your letter to the board of February 17, 2023, and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this Class A license.
Based upon the letter of February 17th and the proffer, I too would grant this request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Based on the materials, testimony, and letter sent from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for a transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Good luck, sir.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council to be advised that the approval of the hardship only lasts for 270 days from the date of the original approval of the application. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 14 on today's docket, Satguru Nanak Ji LLC, trading as Akbar Restaurant. Premises are located at 823 North Charles Street. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Once again, for the record, Melvin J. Kudensky, representing the applicants. And this is a case where we're down to the last 2 or 3 items. Finally got the UNO people to come in and sign off. They were going to the wrong address for a long time. The lady who was selling, she got back in town from India. We're down to the controller's office again, although the one lady that works there, India Phillips, is a very nice person. For some reason, something happened in the controller's office. I don't know what it is, but they have a problem with their records, but I think We should be able to complete this within the next 90-day period, or much sooner than that, though.
Okay, commissioners have questions?
What's the status of the trader's license? Have you received that yet?
We have a trader's license.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Mhm.
Anything else? All right, thank you. On the basis then of your letter to the board of February 21, 2023, and your proffer this morning, Mr. Knansky, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this Class B license.
Based upon the February 21st letter and the proffer, I too would grant this request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Based on the materials, testimony, and letter sent from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council be advised that the transfer hardship extension approved today may only by law extend 270 days from the date of the initial approval at the hearing of the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 15 on today's docket, Jamal's B&O Beverage LLC, trading as Kimpton Hotel Monaco, Baltimore Inner Harbor. Premises are located at 2 North Charles Street. This is this is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor hotel motel license.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. David F. Mr. Winter and Bartlett LLC, representing the applicants. I apologize, but Mr. Jamal and Ms. Case were both traveling for this hearing. I have with us the general manager, John Gilligan. As the board may know, this hotel is in the historic B&O building, right at Charles and Baltimore Streets. This was not your typical arm's length transaction. My clients bought the property at foreclosure sale. So it made it a little bit more complicated getting some of the things we needed. And as the board, I think, is well aware, the delay in permitting with the city has been extraordinary. I am assured by my clients and their outside consultants that help them with these things out of Rhode Island that everything's been done. This was the last step for us. We hopefully will be able to walk in and have the license issued if the board grants us this hardship extension.
Is that restaurant in the front open now at this point? The bar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, someone told me that. And I did. You were closed for a while, though, right?
Yeah, we closed, then we reopened about 4 months ago.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the letter from Natasha Ruane to the board on March 2, 2023, proffer from council, this morning I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this Class B beer, wine, and liquor hotel motel license.
Based upon the March 2nd letter from Ms. Ruane and the proffer, I too would grant this request for a transfer hardship extension for 90 days.
Based on the materials, testimony, and letter sent from the corporate counsel, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you. Good luck, sir.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council be advised that the law only allows for the hardship extension that was granted today to extend for 270 days from the date of the initial approval by the hearing of the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 16 on today's docket, Lady Lyle LLC, trading as Huck's American Craft. Premises are located at 3728 Hudson Street. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioner. Sean Harvey, 309 South Conkling Street for the applicant, Ms. Lisa Potts to my right, and her LLC, Lady Lyle LLC. This was an application that was approved on August 11th by this board. We've had almost everything done when I got a telephone call from the controller's office stating that there was a conflict or something with the sales tax license and they couldn't issue the bulk sales permit. So my client went to the controller regarding the sales tax license, got that straightened out. The bulk sales permit has been issued. As a matter of fact, I just picked up the trader's license yesterday, so we're ready to go with this. So we should have it transferred within a week.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of your letter to the board of February 7, 2023, Mr. Harvey, and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this BD7 license.
Based upon the February 7th letter and the proffer this morning, I too would grant this request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Based on the materials, testimony, and letter from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Good luck.
That concludes this matter before the board. Be advised that the extension granted by the board may not by law go beyond 270 days from the date of the initial approval by the board. You're welcome. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 17 on today's docket, Fezzi LLC trading as Unity Bar and Restaurant. Premises are located at 111 West Center Street. This is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Abraham Hurl, on behalf of Fezzi LLC. With me is Mr. Fisaha, the sole licensee. This is just a routine transfer. We're having issues with permitting. I anticipate that this transfer, as well as the ongoing issues with this license, will be resolved in the next, well, I'm hoping in the coming weeks.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
I thank you on the basis of the letter your client wrote to us, which was received on March 7, 2023 by the board, and your proffer this morning, Mr. Hurdle, vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based upon the letter received on March 7th by Mr. Fasiha and the proffer this morning, I too would grant this request for a transfer hardship extension for 90 days.
Based on the materials, testimony, and letter from the applicant, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you. Good luck.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council and licensee be advised that the extension approved by the board today may not exceed 270 days from the date of the initial approval of the board by law. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Moving on to violations. This is the first item is recalling a case that was continued on February the 9th, 2023, which is New Club Thunderbird Incorporated, trading as New Club Thunderbird. Premises are located at 2201 East Chase Street, and licensees have been charged with several violations, as was stated at the February 9th hearing, and this is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Chairman, do you need me to read all the charges?
No. Mr. Frievus, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
We've approved this transfer, and it can't be done until these violations are dealt with. Is that
Yes,
correct? I would be inclined to dismiss the violations. Commissioners?
I agree.
I agree.
Thank you so much.
Violations dismissed. Thank you.
Appreciate
Ms. Russell?
Medical exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Tudhope. Board Exhibit 2, violation report, Inspector Tudhope. 3, violation report, Inspector Tudhope.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah. And Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, was the dismissal based on the compliance with the items that were stated on the record at February the 9th hearing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then that concludes this matter before the board. Moving forward, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Item number, you'll have to give me a minute to flip my pages.
Two.
It is. I'm not there yet, Mr. Commissioner. Item number 2 on the violations docket. The Avenue K&B LLC, trading as the Avenue Kitchen and Bar. Premises are located at 911 West 36th Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, and the licensee is charged with one violation of the board's rules stemming from one incident on November the 25th, 2022, and that is a violation of Rule 4.17, storage.
Mr. Fogelman, is it your client?
Yes, good morning. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the licensee. This was the outside bar, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I need to ask for a postponement of this matter. My client is not present this morning.
When can we set it back in, Mr. Bundy?
The next scheduled hearings, Mr. Chairman, are scheduled to be violations, so it would be the 13th of April.
I'm available. I'll make sure my client is as well.
Pardon?
Hey, I'll make sure my client is available.
Has this been continue to the next?
Has this been postponed once before?
It has.
Okay.
He was in the Caribbean then.
What's the story with your client?
It didn't get notice until a few hours ago, he tells me.
So he's cooperative?
Absolutely.
All right, well, continue until April 13th.
Thank you very much.
Should we give, Your Honor, should we give notice to the attorney for the third one? Since he's not getting these notices, can we?
So I did not, as a courtesy, I got a text from out of the country. As a courtesy, I had about 6 hearings about 6 weeks ago when this was first put in, and I got up and asked for a postponement. I have not yet formally entered my appearance, and so that may be the issue. So I'm happy to accept notice, to my address, and I'll make sure but it's April 13th, so at least I know that, and I'll, in fact, inform him by text right
With the board's permission, we'll also serve counsel on the
Yes,
3rd.
that's fine.
Thank you.
Notice. Okay.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Take care.
This matter has been postponed until the next hearing of the board, which brings us to item number 3 on the violation docket, which is Jano Ethiopian Restaurant and Lounge, LLC, trading as Jano Ethiopia. Premises are located at 34 South Utah Street. Holders of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, and licensees are charged with several violations of the board's rules, all stemming from one incident on December the 2nd, 2022, and that is a violation of Rule 3.06B, signs and hours of operations, their liquor license, a violation of Rule 3.08A, sanitation and safety for an unsanitary kitchen, violation of Rule 3.09B, restroom facilities and health regulations for a failure to display the health license, violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct for a violation of the Clean Indoor Air Act, violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct for violation of the Building, Fire, and Related Codes open flame prohibition, a violation of Rule 4.20B, prohibit activities by a license type of particular Class B licenses, failure to have a functional kitchen.
Good morning.
And good morning, Your Honor. Roland Harris. I represent Mr. Warku and Jano Lounge. He's present to my right. I believe we're going to proceed by way of an admission, and I would like to proffer in regards to the allegations.
You may.
Okay, so I talked to Mr. Warku about what it is that was happening over at Jano Lounge in terms of December 2nd. As the report, I believe, that was submitted to the court already indicates, in violation of the, in reference to the 306B violation of displaying the license, Jano Lounge did have a valid license. Mr. Warku just needed to pick it up and display it. At this point in time, that's been done. In regards to the 308 violation of not using the kitchen, Mr. Warku fully accepts the fact that he was not using the kitchen. The kitchen was not functional at the time. It was a bad mistake on his part, but he indicates it's an extension of what happened with COVID. The kitchens got shut down. Essentially, there wasn't a lot of demand for the kitchen, and this kitchen became a storage unit. It's inappropriate at this point in time. The kitchen's up and running, ready to go, menus available, everything of the sort. As a result of what was going on in the kitchen, he was shut down by the health department for 10 days, so he lost all business for 10 days. My understanding is also that there was damage to the floor that was of concern to the health department. He did hire a contractor, had them come in. They fixed the floor at this point in time. In regards to the 309 violation, that was an indication about, I believe there were loose wires in the bathroom. That constituted also a fire violation. That has been fixed at this point in time, according to Mr. Warku, and that's been remedied as well. The 416 violations, Mr. Warku fully accepts the fact that that was taking place at his establishment. My understanding is that when the inspectors came into the establishment, Mr. Warku was cooperative, didn't try to hinder them in terms of their investigation. At this point in time, that activity is no longer taking place at the location. And the 420B, we've already talked about, I guess, in regards to the functional kitchen aspect of it, and he's back up and working. As a result of the inspection that took place on December 2nd, he ended up in a situation where he ended up having to pay a $500 fine in regards to the fire department. He ended up having to pay a $750 fine in regards to the health department. And as I previously stated as well, he was shut down for 10 days, so he lost 10 days worth of business. Mr. Warku and Jano Lounge has been in business for about 8 years. They employ five employees. He works with his wife. In addition to that, they also work with subcontractors that provide music and things like that of the sort. So he's just trying to stay in business. He's doing his best, and he apologizes for his action.
I appreciate all your candor, Mr. Harris, and what, let's swear them just so everybody, just so I can ask questions.
Can you raise your hand as well, sir? Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the answers that you give and the statements that you make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So which one of you was the primary one? You were? Okay. And
Speak into
state
the
your name for
microphone,
record.
please.
Inspector Jordan.
And were they cooperative with you?
Yes, they were.
Okay. So my question for both sides is, this is not a great record. I guess you've seen it, but I mean, violations in 21, 19, 19, 18, 17, 16, and now a lot more. And he's paid all these monies out and been shut down. Where is he? And can he run this place?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, the one thing, when I take a step back and kind of, I'm supposed to come up here and do the lawyerly thing and everything of the sort, but just looking at the record, what I've seen is Mr. Warku didn't come into this an expert in running a business, right? He didn't come into it an expert running especially a liquor establishment. But every single violation that we've ever had, he says, I'm not going to have that violation again. And to my knowledge, he has not repeated anything, not once.
Once on sale to minors, but yes, you're right.
No, and that's it. So when Mr. Warku indicates that, I'm going to do something, he sets his mind to it and he does it. Now, I agree wholeheartedly with the tribunal. This isn't the first time that we've appeared here, but Mr. Warku's he's running a business that at some points he's been kind of learning along the way, but I think he puts his whole heart into it, a good faith effort into trying to make sure that the business stays afloat and does what it needs to do. And as soon as there's an issue that's brought to his attention, and I get it that some of these things should have been in his face, right? But he pays the fines. He goes out, he gets the repairs, and he does the things that he needs to do. So I think he's willing to accept whatever it is that the tribunal ultimately decides in this case, but he has paid substantial fines. He has suffered a suspension, and I don't think that this is something that would require any additional suspension.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
Yes, just a statement. I just want to, Mr. Chair, I just want to piggyback on what you said. There were 6 violations since 2015, plus a 3-day suspension. My opinion is it's a management issue, and it seems like your client is basically in a reactive mode, gets a violation, he pays for it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Do you all have anything else to add?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. On the basis then of the,
Let me ask
Go ahead.
Let me ask the inspector. So I think to Commissioner Reisinger's question, is there an opportunity for the inspectors, or maybe it's a better question for the chief, to actually do a walkthrough with Mr. Warku and cite some of the issues that we see as more of a, sort of instead of him having to react to these things, if he's new in the business, and we want entrepreneurs and we support that, but we also want them to know what they're doing. And if there seems to be a lack of understanding perhaps, and to the degree we can help coach him a little bit, and at some point, maybe we can't coach him anymore, but I'm wondering whether that's an option on the table.
I'm sure we can definitely sit down. Chief Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board, for the record. We can definitely sit down and work through some of the operational issues, security issues, and so forth. Some of the building issues, it's not really our expertise. I can reach out and do a walkthrough with a fire marshal if you like. I really don't know the electrical part and the kitchen part. But as far as the operational security plans, things of that nature, we have no problem doing that.
Thank you.
all right. On the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, which included an admission of these violations and testimony received, I find violations of rules 3.06 small b on December 2, Rule 3.08 small a on December 2, Rule 3.09 small b on December 2, Rule 4.16 on December the 2nd, Rule 4.16 on December 2, and Rule 4.20 small b on December 2nd. He's already paid substantially for these mistakes, but they can't be ignored by us, and particularly with his record. I have to say, Mr. Harris, that, and I really appreciate the fact that you're honest with us and that you're trying to help as well, and I appreciate the commissioner's suggestions too. But we're going to have to shut it down if it continues. I mean, this shows a disregard for our rules, and we just can't contemplate that in the future. So he can't come back here. So you have to have that Dutch uncle talk with him. You understand? Given what he's already paid, I'd impose $100 fines as to each of the violations for a total of $600 and give him 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Based upon the charging document, the proffer, and the admission, along with the testimony, I find a violation of Rule 3.06B on December 2nd. I find a violation of Rule 3.08A on December 2nd. I find a violation of Rule 3.09B on December 2nd. I find a violation of Rule 4.16 on December 2nd. I find a violation of Rule 4.16 on December 2nd. I find a violation of Rule 4.20B on December 2nd, and concur with the judge, or with the chairman, on a $100 fine for each violation. And again, echo, you got to get this right. One last chance here. We don't want to see you come back. So please I encourage you to really work with the staff.
Okay, Commissioner?
Yes, based on testimony provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings of violation of 306A, $100, so violation of Rule 308A, $100, 309B, $100, 416 illegal conduct, $100, 416 illegal conduct, $100, 420B, $100, with a total of $600.
Okay, Ms. Russell?
Medical exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Jordan. Board Exhibit 2, building, fire, and related codes 301. Board Exhibit 3, hearing code 63201. And exhibit number 4, health code 12 through 101.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harris. I appreciate it. Good work.
Thank you.
Keep him out of trouble.
All right.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council and licensee can receive, counsel and be given your client the results of today's proceeding and the fines imposed and any attendant administrative fees that go along, which must be paid within 30 days of today's hearing. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Item number 4 on the violations docket has been postponed to a future hearing of the board, and that concludes all the matters on the docket, Mr. Chairman.
Would you read the adjournment, please, then?
Yes, sir. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City, or whatever, shall stand in recess, and any FCC fines shall stand in recess until Thursday, April the 13th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m., noting that we are in recess for opening day, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, all right. With Larry's permission, then we're going to adjourn. Thanks to the commissioners and all the staff, again, for a great job done. We'll see you in a couple weeks, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.